Hello and welcome back again to the YouTube thing. I'm Ryan with Inglewood Instruments, and tonight, because this is the night series edition, we're going to be picking up where I left off last time, which was with hammer-ons and pull-offs and then trills, because you can put the two together. And now we're going to join in their best friend slides. So we're covering tactics you could use to improve or get into improvisation. And I know that is a massive topic, so what I probably didn't say last time was drop into the comments below all of your thoughts on improv. There is a wide gamut of how people view this thing. It's either like this free-form thing that I just do, don't give me any rules, on over to people who have all the rules figured out and you should follow those in order to be able to do improv. For our part here, what we're doing is trying to give you a bag of tricks that you can just kind of like pick and choose from and then see what floats your boat, as my mom used to say. So if you find that one thing is working and you get an idea from that and you just try and chase it, one of the beautiful things about these instruments, these Dulcimer type instruments, is that it sounds good no matter what you're doing, almost entirely. So if you find an idea that you like, you can chase it and not be like tied to this fear of it sounding bad. That's maybe something that I, coming out of guitar world, felt a lot more than I do with this instrument, just because there's a lot more room for error on a guitar. There's too many notes. We got rid of all the ones that are bad on this one. So anyway, a little bit of a diatribe there. Just FYI, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel here. It'd be great. There's tons of videos I've been putting out. I don't know if I'm quite to 100 yet, but I'm just continuing on down. And then there's also downloads over the website. So if you go over to heyinglewood.com, there's probably some links down there as well. We've got some free chord tutorials and cheat sheets and song tabs, as well as a couple things that are paid, which would be great if you could buy. I would love that. It would really help me out a lot, because making these videos is not entirely free. And I just wanted to let you know that I also have, as part of Inglewood, we've got our own line coming out. So this is what I'm currently calling the Model 1. It doesn't even have oil on it yet. This is just pure cherry on the top with purple heart on the fretboard. Most of these instruments do not have fretboards for some reason. I modeled it after a more of a Les Paul parlor acoustic style. So anyway, if you are interested in this as an instrument that you would like to own, jump over to the website as well, because there's a pre-sale sign-up list there. These will hopefully be available in mid-late 2022. Right now they are kind of hitting their production phase. This is a prototype that I just haven't gotten done yet. So anyway, I've babbled on. It's already 3 minutes in. So I told you I'd talk about slides. And slide is much like the hammer-on, where you, and the pull-off, where you're using the force of your former string strike, or the fingers that are doing the work, to make the next note. In the case of a slide, you're hitting a string and you're moving into the next note, or down to the next note, either which way you're going. You're doing that with at least a certain amount of force, so that that motion will cause the next note to ring. So I'm only hitting the string one time, but the force of crossing over that fret, that little wire piece there, causes it to ring again. And you can string those together. If you do it fast enough or hard enough, you can go, right? And that's actually kind of nice sounding, isn't it? Actually, I didn't mean to do that. You can just kind of jump around. I think sliding is just to kind of, if you're like looking for a place to jump off in the world of improv, you could, I always like to make the recommendation of jumping across a fret. So instead of going like I just did, go, there's something that's like this leaping quality to that. And then you can take that even further and go all the way up to this octave here. Octave is where the notes on the scale start over. And you just go. Notice how I was still just doing slides. In this case, I was just going, just kind of going down, but getting there with a slide each time gave it a lot of added interest, at least for me it did. Now, I think I said in the last video that I would kind of show you how these things work and then come up with a noodly sort of idea. Hey, real quick, I know you're in the middle of watching this video about how to do improv stuff. I forgot something. I forgot to add into these videos practical application steps. This one you're watching is very good in theory and an idea of, but I think you're gonna need exercises and kind of to-dos and maybe some challenges. I've made another set of videos for that, also just for you. Go watch those when you're done with this one so that you can kind of get some more practical, like here's what you do to learn this tactic so that you can add it to your portfolio of things to do for a song or for just improv ideas. Okay, get back to it. I don't feel like I did quite the justice to slides just yet. I've been using my finger simply because the pick is right here as well, but I wanted to show you that one particularly before I got to any examples because that's such an easy slide to do, 1 to 2, and yet it is so critical for a lot of things. So watch this. I did that 2 slides. I don't know if you're from a church background, but where I come from, we have a lot of that, and that particular set of notes is the beginning of a very well-known one that echoes back to the melodies of like Irish Celtic music of "Come thou fount of every blessing." And I hit that with a couple of slides in there, but I really wanted you to get this. And part of the reason for getting that is it's actually the opening couple of notes you'd use for Parting Glass, also of Irish Scottish descent. So, oh, of all the money. I have a separate video for that if you want to go check that out. And I also have a tab for it over on the website. Now, again, sliding. I didn't mean to hit that, but let's follow that idea. I've been trying to isolate the notes on the top string so that you would hear them, but that's where it starts to, when you ring all the strings together, it's where it starts to sound magical, right? So. I tried to put in as many slides there as I could for you. And then if you're going to go in the direction of Parting Glass, threw in a little bit of a hammer on there. All right. And again, I don't know if it's obvious for folks out there, if this bears extra repeating, but you can do these tactics, these slides and stuff on other strings. And I would even encourage you to start on those strings instead of on the high string like I've been doing, because you're going to get new parts of your brain going, ooh, I like that. So. And, as promised, let me go ahead and do a little bit of noodling myself. Flub there at the end. And I was getting a little bit off in the wind, didn't really love some of what I was doing, but hopefully the idea was enough there to kind of get you going. One thing that I would like to point out that I was kind of like pulling out is a little bit of a crutch, but also something you could try is when I was hitting the strings really hard and then deadening them. So that kind of puts a little bit of a exclamation point on what you're doing, but in my case, honestly, I was just trying to cover up that I didn't really know where I was going next. So. Gives you a little bit of a minute to think. And even though I'm running a little longer than I often do, I do want to show this one idea to you. This goes back to the hammer-on pull-off kind of thing. I'm grabbing here a minor chord. This is a 2 minor chord. I only know that because it's the 2nd fret. I guess I'm in D, so it'd be an E minor chord. Okay? Now, this is going to be physically difficult for some folks, the way that I'm doing it currently. I'm going to show you just something different in a second here. If you are holding this form here, which could be 3 minor, it could be G, it could be A. But if you're holding this form, one way you can add interest to what you're doing, and I'm just pulling it back here where I started, is to figure out how you can pull that off. So I'm barring all the way across these strings. See how now I'm not saying this is easy. This might be for more advanced folks out there who probably didn't watch all this way through the video, and that's really fun to have in there because you're keeping the minor tonality of this particular version of the chord. And you're adding in that little extra something by just having that pull off. Technically, you're not changing the chord at all. You're just adding a little bit of interest to it. With that, for those of you who are strictly staying open strings right now, you can do the exact same thing. Notice how this shape is the same as that. So if you're playing an open D, you can just go. Sliding, hammering, all around that one. If you're playing a D, all that should work, just sound great. Okay, a lot going on here. Had some hammer-ons, had some slides. Now you got some ideas to play with. You can tell me that none of them are any good. You can tell me that they are helpful. Whatever the case may be, it'd be great to know so that I can make the next videos a little bit more enjoyable and like helpful for you guys. So anyway, I'm Ryan with Inglewood Instruments. Thanks if you made it this far. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you guys soon.